What's up guys, leftstickrightstick here again with another Dreams video. Today we're going to be talking about logic. In the most recent stream, they sort of covered how they made Comic Sans in the Train Jam level, and they sort of explored, we had a look behind the scenes about all the logic that made up that level, how they did certain things, and they went into a bit more detail looking at their logic menus and how you go about making some stuff, some gameplay elements and logic. Although, honestly though, they didn't really go into that much detail into what is possible, but they did sort of highlight some of the menu items there. And we're going to first start off with Comic Sans, I guess, because that's what they also started off with. But Comic Sans is a really nice, cute looking level, and it turns out it wasn't actually 2D. A lot of Comic Sans was actually done through camera trickery and illusions rather than, any complex logic involved. They sort of used the angles of the fixing cameras, having certain transitions to different cameras, and using trigger zones, which those of you with LBP will be familiar with. Basically, they sort of layered everything, and using the camera, they sort of made it give the impression that it was 2D. There's also, all the frames and stuff, all the pencil drawings, they were all done through, the paint mode and sort of the properties within those drawings. You make some painting, you draw it in the air, and then you can sort of click into it, and there's like pages and pages of properties, that stroke can have, and that's sort of what gives it those elements. So they used the boil value, which was the one that's making all these squiggly lines move about. But the most important stuff was sort of the stop frame animations and trigger zones and camera for Comic Sans, and then the transition from sort of the 2D to 3D element. It was just a very simple, they're grouping items together and sort of having what they're explaining as powering on and off, so their visibility. So you can power on and off groups. You'll actually find that, all the logic pieces themselves, they've got like a little power button at the bottom of it that sort of basically determines whether that logic piece is active or not. Although, they explained that they didn't really debug the whole level because, they only had, 52 hours or whatever to make it. They didn't reset certain values if you were going back and forth. We did get to look at the logic in the character of Comic Sans, which apparently doesn't have an official name yet. They're still deciding. They've taken some names from the stream. I like Alan. But anyways, the microchip they saw was quite vast, quite complex, wires going everywhere, loads of different logic pieces in there. But put it in perspective, that actually apparently accounts for 3 different versions of that character, 2D state, 3D state. So it looks quite simple generally, but when they've finalized in a name, they're going to be publishing this character too. So if you want to make that same character, take that logic from that character, you don't need to actually make it yourself. Great thing about Dreams is that you can just take and copy some stuff that you might need to find useful, especially ones that they've created. So now we go into the logic section of this video, where we actually look at all the logic stuff that they explained throughout the stream. First off, what is really great about Dreams is that they've made the whole workflow and sort of the organization very good. I guess good is the best way I can put it. But you can basically control which gadgets are visible in certain, when you're trying to work on a level, you can actually make your whole workflow a lot easier by hiding certain elements. You can either group stuff together, or you can set filters to see what is available. So that's also a very helpful tool for actually managing a level, rather than just seeing everything just there, visible. You have to maneuver around everything. You can actually sort of bring stuff more prominently into view, which is actually very, very helpful. As those of LBP will know, there's microchips as well, where you can sort of organize all your logic pieces all into one area so that you can all hide it in one go. And you can also copy these microchips and paste them onto multiple different sections. That makes sort of duplicating things a lot easier, rather than just if you have to make one thing, you don't have to copy each individual logic piece. You can put them all together in a microchip and have that microchip copied onto another object, or just copy that object with that microchip, and it all copies over. So that's really good. Though there is one potential point. Once you've copied these items, you may not be able to actually edit the contents of the microchip and then have that apply to all the other copied items. Although they did say that if you had made a character that you published and you edit that character, or you edit that logic piece, that that object with the microchip in it, you've edited that other details of that character or details of the logic, you change that, you can update your published creation, and that will transfer over to all the other levels that creation features in. you can sort of push that update out into all the other places where your character, for example, resides in other levels. But it does seem like Zombie has indicated that if you copied an object with a microchip within the level, you can't edit one of the microchips and have it apply to the other objects that you pasted. So that's a bit of an annoyance maybe. Zombie sort of explained how we should go about logic and how the menu is sort of organized. So they sort of put it into an intuitive menu. They sort of put in the sections of the components menu, we saw the used in scene, so that sort of groups everything that you see in the scene. Sensors and inputs, which we're told that usually is stuff that you would happen first in a level logic-wise. Then you have the logic and processing, stuff that happens in the middle. And then movers and outputs, the stuff that happens in the end. They didn't quite cover the other remaining items in that menu, but they were gameplay gear, cameras and lighting, connectors, sound, and we assume the last one is microchips. So we'll go through some of the sensors and inputs, sort of what we have in the sensors and inputs. There was like trigger zones, tags, wireless receivers, wireless transmitters, controller sensor, grab sensor, movement sensor, angle sensor, rotation sensor, inventory sensor, laser scope, impact sensor, and signal generator. So there's actually lots of input sensors and inputs that are already in Dreams that you can really make a lot of use for. It showed off a really powerful logic tool sort of to deal with the signals and how we can manipulate the logic values over time in sort of patterns. This can be really powerful in the way they showed it as being for the small details in a level, like how their diamonds that they were collecting in Comic Sans, how that floats up and down. That was utilized through signals. They also showed how the signals can manipulate extra animated details, how fast, what kind of flow they have in their visual animation, which is really, really powerful and a very simple display of how we can manipulate our logic. And it's probably going to be a highly used item by creators to really fine-tune the animations in their levels. And what's really, I guess, great about the logic system in Dreams is that apparently we can connect individual logic values to certain triggers. If you have a trigger zone, or like you have something that triggers a logic action, it doesn't have to affect the whole logic piece. You don't have to have individual logic pieces for every different scenario. You can just have it connect to certain values within another logic piece. The examples I gave were, you can have when the character goes into a certain area, maybe the color of the character changes to the same color of the light. Rather than just having a whole new logic piece for it, you can just have that trigger linked to the sort of color value of the character, for example. And you can have wire to and from everything. Basically, you can connect a wire from anything to anything, even back on itself, if that somehow would be applicable. So as you can see, there's sort of lots of different availability of logic that you can have. I mean, there's also ones that they didn't cover, but they did show that was there, was sort of like doorway logic, destroyer, health modifier, rocket rotator, whatever that is, follower, XOR gates, an exclusive gate, which apparently Zombie will now have to make, prepare a stream to explain these logic pieces as well. So, we can look forward to that. There's lots to actually play around with in Dreams, lots of different values. Each logic panel sort of has multiple pages varying different values in them that you can change around. I mean, I think even like a painted item has like 8 pages of properties which you can animate and duplicate with. So there's lots of flexibility to do many, many things in Dreams. And to help with that, Media Monaco said that they're gonna provide extensive tutorials in form of streams, how-tos, they're gonna set up a wiki, but the more details of that are gonna come in the future. They haven't really sort of planned out exactly how things are gonna go, but they're really looking to provide a lot of help for creators to understand how to actually do certain things using the logic available. There's loads of options available to every creator, and it's sort of up to creators to sort of play around and figure out all the creative and wonderful things we can do with all the different values that MM have given us. Because there's an endless list of amounts of different values here. I mean, there's even grade and effects for your style of view, and that already instantly makes a massive difference to the whole look of a level. Posterizing sort of effect, they've got scan lines, glitching effects, and what they've said that you can link each of these things to certain events, sort of like when you take damage or when you have low HP, you can sort of have these individual effects be manipulated and triggered individually rather than just having, a whole new logic piece for every single action, which is great. And I'm really looking forward to the amazing creations that people use and all the stylized effects that people are actually able to bring out of Dreams and its amazing logic menus. So that was our recap of MM's logic stream of creating Comic Sans. We learned quite a bit in terms of how easy it is to actually deal with the logic, but some of you may not be happy with the depth of what is possible within Dreams, which, you know, is going to take a lot of time. There's a lot to explore there. Stay tuned for more information about that, or just wait till it comes out. And I'm sure some of you will be trying out Little Big Planet, where the logic system is very similar but not quite as in depth as what will be available in Dreams, so a lot of you will be practicing through that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You click that like button and comment below what you thought about the logic in Dreams. Is there specific stuff that you want to know more about, or are there just some items that you just found amazing or that you just like and would like to be exploring logic-wise when Dreams comes out? So definitely stay tuned, subscribe to Left Stick Right Stick for more Dreams videos as well as Little Big Planet videos. The next MM stream is in a month, so we may not have that much new Dreams content until then, but definitely stick around for LBP content. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.